and let us all do we can to build a better future.
All right, folks, let's get started with our next segment. Universal basic income. Andrew Yang led on it, and he was right. He was absolutely correct on universal basic income. We need direct stimulus, cash relief now. And when Andrew Yang dropped out of the race, Representative Tulsi Gabbard carried on with the concept of universal basic income. But yet corporate media has basically said, we don't need UBI. We don't need direct cash relief. Well, let's find out what's going on. Huge shout out to Case Study QB who found this little gem. Let's hear what these little pundits are all talking about.
Protection, a huge priority for McConnell. I want to ask you about Bernie Sanders and other progressives that are not happy with this stimulus package because it does not include stimulus checks. The same actually goes for Republican Josh Hawley of Missouri. But would that idea have enough impact on the economy that it would lead to ultimately spiking this bill altogether, do you think?
Well, I think the criticism is right in the sense that this $908 billion package is not enough to get the economy through the whole pandemic. And what's interesting is, as you mentioned, it's not just from the left. We heard Senator Josh Hawley say that he told President Trump that he thinks Trump should veto the whole thing if stimulus checks are not included. But, the economists that I'm talking to, they say, listen, we don't know that stimulus checks are really needed right now. A lot of Americans would probably just save that money rather than spend it. And there's a lot of really good stuff in this package, including extending the unemployment benefits that I was talking about earlier, forgivable loans for small businesses, state and local aid from the federal government. And so, you don't want to just kill the whole bill because of that single issue. I mean, it's like if your house was on fire, you wouldn't turn away the one fire truck that comes up just because you think two are needed. You would take the help and hope to get some more.
Yeah, that's the idea.
Points before you hit
Go
it.
ahead.
Okay, first of all, terrible analogy. It's not one fire truck needing two. It's your neighbor's garden hose and you want a fire truck. That's maybe more of an apt thing. And by the way, didn't we literally just cover a story? Was it yesterday or whenever it happened, where a representative was like, it's not a stimulus bill, it's a relief bill. Stop treating it like a stimulus bill.
Yep.
And here we have on TV, this is a stimulus bill, but it's not stimulating people.
Yeah, so here's the thing. Again, before we get into the next segment, because Bernie Sanders is going to be on CNN talking about why he's not going to vote for this bill. Look, we needed stimulus checks right after the first one. And, it's really saying a lot that Donald Trump in this one-time thing gave us $1,200, right? But he wanted to give us more. But yet Nancy, to her own admission, Nancy Pelosi, I hope that offends people, too, that I'm not calling her Representative Speaker of the House Nancy Pelosi.
Her full name is Nancy Pelosi.
It's pronounced like this. Nancy Pelosi.
I can't beat that. That's too good.
She, to her own admission, said the reason why she was halting it was to hurt Trump. You didn't hurt Trump. Trump doesn't give a crap. He just wanted to give people out checks out with his name on it, and that offends people. Guess what? I got a thank you letter from Donald Trump from my Uncle Bernie who passed away. Mm-hmm. That doesn't offend me. I don't care about that. No one cares about it. You hurt working class families. Nancy, to your own admission. Nancy, that's what you did. You said it. But maybe she's too old that she forgot it. But hold on. Let's bring up Bernie Sanders and find out what's really going on with this stimulus bill. Shout out again to Case Study QB for uploading this on Twitter.
Independent Senator Bernie Sanders of Vermont. Senator Sanders, what's your response to those comments by Senator Warner?
I have great concerns, and I share those concerns with the AFL-CIO and hundreds of organizations who understand that right now workers around this country, especially in meat processing plants, have been treated absolutely shamefully. Amazon, I think workers at Amazon have developed some 20,000 cases of COVID. We don't know how many have died. What we need to do is to tell corporations that they have got to treat their workers in a way that is safe and healthy. They cannot be irresponsible. And if they are irresponsible, there are going to be consequences. And if we go forward and we grant this type of immunity, what corporations are going to say all over the country is, we don't have to do anything for our workers. They can't do anything to us. So you're giving a green light for irresponsible behavior. That's something I don't want to see happen. But in addition to that, Jake, I have real concerns about this bill or this proposal, which we have not quite seen yet, to be honest with you, because it does not address the economic crisis facing tens of millions of families in this country. We are right now in the worst economic shape since the Great Depression. And this proposal does not include that $1,200 direct payment per individual and $500 for kids that we desperately need in order to put working families back on their feet. It would be a real help. We don't have it. I'm going to fight to see that we get that included.
Yeah, it's not included in that compromise proposal right now. I understand that you spoke with Republican Senator Josh Hawley of Missouri over the weekend. He is also saying that he wants that included and thinks the bill should be vetoed if it doesn't include it. I wasn't aware that Josh Hawley was in favor of direct payments. Are there enough Republicans on your side on this, on the direct payment part of this, that it could make a difference? Because obviously Republicans still control the U.S. Senate.
Well, that's what we're working on right now. And right now I'm working with my Democratic colleagues to make it clear that we should not go forward unless we do what the American...
Let's play the second video, but real quick, Daniel.
To say real quick, it's good to hear at least someone talking about these issues, which, you know, that's something on TV. But and this goes back to what we already talked about with Jimmy Dore's request to get progressives to veto.
Shout out to Jimmy.
You can speak and Bernie's a lot of words now, but you can speak on this topic as much as you want, and you can say the right things as much as you want. But if you're not willing to do something to act on it, I don't know if it matters to me. I mean, I can say nice words. I can, hey, everyone, you should all get $100,000 right now.
Dan, that sounds really great. Yeah,
I'm not going to do anything about it because I can't.
Yeah.
But it sounds nice.
But hold on, folks. There's a little bit more. Let's play that second video.
Right now, Jake, as you well know, I mean, we got half of our people living paycheck to paycheck. Something like 20% of our population now is either unemployed or earning less than $20,000 a year. People are facing eviction. Hunger is at a higher level today than any time in recent history. We have got to address those issues. And it concerns me very much that this bill is far, far, far less than the other proposals that the Democrats have brought forth.
Well, let me play devil's advocate for a second, because look, I don't doubt
we need to make
your
sure we
sincerity,
stand
and I
back
don't
and
doubt that
stop
this legislation
working-class
could be
people from
much,
having a
much
voice.
better
Let's give it the other
for
side of
all
that
the
topic.
Americans in desperate need. But the fact of the matter is, Donald Trump is still in the White House and will be until January 20th. Republicans control the U.S. Senate, and at the very least will be in charge of the U.S. Senate until January 5th, if not afterwards as well. Are you making the good, the perfect, the enemy of the good?
No, not.
Right
Look,
here, buddy.
as you recall...
Wait. Pause it. Perfect, the enemy of the good. The perfect is, hey, can we give people like the minimum needed to survive every month so that they can keep surviving? $1,200 a month for adult, $500 for kid. That's perfect. That's not perfect. That's minimum. Sorry.
Yeah, let's play the rest of it.
Health has agreed in the past to, I believe, a $1.8 trillion bill, including these $1,200 direct payments. It's something that Trump has already supported. What we need is a compromise. I know I can't get everything that I want, but this bill really is not a compromise. It gives the Republicans almost everything that they wanted. And one of the interesting parts about it, as I understand it, and I have not seen the proposal yet, but Mitt Romney, who is one of the Republican negotiators, said that over $500 billion of this $900 billion in the bill is not new money. It's money being shifted away from the old CARES Act, money that has not yet been spent. So we're talking about $350 billion or so new dollars, when Democrats originally talked about over $3 trillion in new money to help working families in this country. So I don't think this is much of a compromise. I think we've got to do a lot better and negotiate a lot harder.
Well, you talked about that $1.8 trillion bill that the White House, Steve Mnuchin, the Treasury Secretary, was working on with the House Speaker Nancy Pelosi.
Let's play that final video. Let's bring up Nancy.
That's the whole thing about this. It's like Jake Tapper's like, hey, this is CNN. We don't back the little guy. Devil's advocate. Bernie, shut up with your points. I'm trying to get people to lose all hope here, and you're trying to give it to them. How dare you? And Bernie comes back with like a good point, and he's like, that's a terrible point. You should never make that point. Trump would not do this thing. Actually, Trump did it. No, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I know. See, Trump, here's the thing. There's a lot of terrible things to say about Trump, but we didn't get into any new wars. And he did give us a 1,200. He wanted to do more, but Nancy, to her own admission, said,
I'm not going to do that. I want to hurt Trump and also hurt people because I'm an old vindictive witch.
There we go.
There you go.
There
Okay.
we go.
There
Ha!
you go.
I kept it clean, folks. Come on, don't get offended. It wasn't that bad. Let's play this final video, and then we'll get to Tulsi Gabbard.
Democrats walked away from that
That's
bill
right.
because they wanted 2.2 trillion and they walked away from 1.8 trillion. Was that a mistake?
That's what I'm saying. That's exactly what I'm saying. Here was a proposal much, much larger. Democrats said, no, that's not good enough. And now we're prepared to accept a proposal which has, I think, $350 billion in new money and which has, I believe to the best of my knowledge, this corporate immunity language as well. So that's my point here, is that I don't think this is much of a compromise. I think the Republicans have probably gotten 90% of what they want. Our job is to fight, at least get a 50-50 deal.
Before you go, Senator, I want to ask you about the fact that President-elect Biden tapped Neera Tanden to head the Office of Management and Budget. Last year, you accused her of belittling progressive ideas and maligning your campaign staff. She obviously takes issue and disagrees with that characterization.
Neera.
You could be the chairman of the Senate Budget Committee if Democrats win these runoff elections in January. Where do you stand on Neera Tanden's nomination?
Well, we're going to give Ms. Tanden and I hope,
Bernie,
no matter
you
which
lose me
party
here, buddy.
controls the Senate, every nominee of the President-elect
This is
Biden
exactly
deserves
why they
a
had
fair
emotion, so we
hearing.
would be upset.
All of the nominees have got to answer some pretty hard questions. That's true for Ms. Tanden. It's true for everybody
How can I
else.
burn this guy
So
to the
you're
ground?
not in favor or against right now. You're just going to give her a fair hearing.
That's correct.
Lastly, the fact is that your governor in
Bernie.
Vermont is a Republican.
All right,
Does that
Let's
complicate
pause
the
it and
idea?
let's actually switch the mood up and play the next video.
Hey, Bernie Sanders.
Bernie.
You know, you said very clearly about this Neera Tanden person a while back that she's bad news. What do you think now that she's part of the Taft administration? I think I'm gonna look a Vermont goose.
Bernie, why? Come on. You know what Neera Tanden did to your followers. Come on, don't play around like that. But let's play a video from Representative Tulsi Gabbard again.
That's a really good point, though.
Yeah.
Hey, Bernie Sanders, why don't you stand up for your own base as much as they've stood up for you?
Yeah, seriously, man, I shouldn't be doing this. But let's play this video. This video is from a local Hawaiian, I guess, news agency there. So yeah, I screwed that up. Horrible intro for this video.
Hey, don't worry. We just saw CNN. You really couldn't screw this
But
one up.
Representative Tulsi Gabbard talks about why we need to have direct stimulus checks right now. Let's play it.
Of course, you mentioned that millions of Americans are struggling. Unemployment rates are still sky high. Families now recently reported some 5 months behind on rent and bills. Is the coronavirus relief package that you're talking about going to be enough? Is it going to come in time before these people suffer more loss?
To be very blunt, it will not be enough. It will provide some assistance, but in my opinion, it does not go nearly far enough. I'll give you a few of the quick highlights. It'll provide another $288 billion towards that PPP Small Business Assistance Fund, so that those small business owners still struggling will be able to go and get that PPP assistance. It'll add $180 billion towards the Unemployment Assistance Fund, making it so that those who are on state unemployment now will get that additional $300 a week of federal unemployment assistance through the end of March. This is a $900 billion bill. It'll provide other assistance towards schools, continued funding for testing and tracing efforts, and so on. But one of the big points of contention is $160 billion going to state and local governments. Now, there's no question that there is need there, but as you have covered very well, our state and many others have not yet spent the money that has been allocated already. So an essential part of this bill must be to extend that deadline first so that our state and local governments can spend the money that's already been allocated. And lastly, I have long been an advocate for direct payments to individuals. The current bill does not have direct payments in it. That $1,200 check a lot of people got several months ago, earlier this year, that should have been a monthly check that went to individuals to make sure that they could determine how best to spend those dollars. It has bipartisan support in the House and the Senate. Ultimately, we're pushing the negotiators to try to include some form of that direct payment to individuals in this final bill that's passed.
Representative Tulsi Gabbard joining us from Washington, D.C. this morning. It's been said that no one ever wants to see how the sausage is made, but Americans would like to see something happen before the end of the year. We appreciate you shining some light on what's happening there in Washington.
We're doing all we can. Thank you so much.
All right.
All right. Thank you for joining us here on Good Morning.
Tulsi Gabbard. I mean, look, we need universal basic income. We need a federal jobs guarantee act. We need Medicare for all. We need real relief. We need student debt forgiveness, medical debt forgiveness. Let's have this now. Let's invest into our infrastructure. What this bill that's being presented to us right now is just a temporary relief for Congress to feel good and to bail out their corporate donors. We're not getting a relief package. They want people to starve. They want people to be evicted. 30 to 40 million Americans are at risk of being evicted from their homes. We're dealing with crushing debt. We have the ever-growing threat of climate change. This virus isn't going away. I hope this vaccine works. But you know what? 2020 has showed us that this neoliberal economic system we have is nothing but smoke and mirrors. And, shout out to, every progressive and independent and conservative and libertarian that's calling out the hypocrisy of our system. All of us out here need to step up and demand more. I don't know what Bernie Sanders is going to do at the end of the day in the Senate, but Representative Tulsi Gabbard is absolutely correct in saying that we need a direct stimulus check. We needed them right after the first one. We are long overdue for a much larger check than just $1,200. We deserve it. We are entitled to it. All of us demand it. Small business owners are struggling. This will get fundamentally worse if Congress doesn't actually come up with innovative ideas. But how dare I ask Congress, because they're all corporate prostitutes and they don't have the imagination to think big. It's up to the people lead. And when the people lead, that's when the leaders follow. Time to step up. Don't be that person who says that they wish they could have helped.
So I would just add, it's a real shame that Tulsi has basically succumbed to all of politics that happened in the last two election cycles and has sort of been self-exiled out of Congress by not running again. It's a real shame that the number of people that I still know that hate her for reasons that
are stupid.
Aren't well, I was going to say aren't accurate or true, but they just believed gossip. A lot of TYT commentary seemed to be a big consensus, sadly, on the people I talked to at least. It's like, it'd be nice if Tulsi's there, I would wish she would boost up Bernie's resolve a little bit, because Bernie does have way more power than she does right now.
Yeah.
Tulsi's on her way out of politics, so she's giving up her keys. And Bernie still has them, and I really like that both of them, in the end, were speaking on UBI. But it seems like Bernie's going to go with whatever the party wants to do anyway, and he feels that he's lost his voice. I very much do feel like he should still be speaking like an activist. I mean, no one's listening to him right now anyway. What does he literally have to lose than go on the internet and talk to people? Which I don't know why most younger new, like, why is the squad not? I mean, they did Among Us or whatever.
Where are they?
That's a side note, and it's a shame that Tulsi has a more firm hand on trying to talk about these things, going back to the historical failure of this, which other people have talked about too. But she's on her way out, so I like what she says, but she also kind of by definition is just talking a little bit too on this, because she's going. It's just not a good position. I don't like where either of these guys are, and I wish they were in different places, but we have the hand we're dealt.
And again, with those pundits in that first video, people are going to save their money. In what world are you living in? Hey, I'm going to talk like Joe Biden to these pundits, because apparently that's what they like in that first video. Everyone's already broke. People need relief now.